Good morning. It is Thursday, February 13th. You're watching Morning Live. Here is what we are working on this morning. Much of southern Ontario was blanketed with snow yesterday afternoon, and it continues to fall into this morning.
A second suspect has been arrested in connection with a robbery and shooting in Brantford last month.
And the Backstreet Boys are back and heading to Las Vegas. That is good news. Storm watch.
Oh, storm watch.
If you haven't looked out your window, there's a lot of snow, and due to the weather, we have some cancellations and closures to tell you about.
Here in Hamilton, McMaster University has canceled all in-person and remote classes, and facilities around the campus are closed. Mohawk College has closed all of its campuses today. The Hamilton Wentworth Catholic District School Board has closed all their schools as well, adult education centers and school-based child care centers.
In Halton, all Halton District and Halton Catholic District school boards and administrative centers are closed, and transportation services are canceled in zones 1, 2, and 3.
GO Transit and Up Express will be running on a special schedule today. Those taking the Lakeshore West Line, the express trains will now make stops at all stations. University of Guelph has canceled all in-person classes and remote classes and labs.
And this just in, all Grand Erie school and board sites are closed and transportation canceled today. Stay tuned and we will do our best to update our ticker below with any school closures and bus cancellations. Good morning, Brian. What a drive-in that was. Yeah, we carpooled, so I brought my truck in and it was... I'm not going to say it was bad because I had a lot of fun.
I'm glad you did. Well, I have a pretty small car, not four-wheel drive, and I poked my head out my window this morning, and it looked plowed, and I was like, maybe I'll be fine. And then, thank goodness I took you up on the ride. It was so much better than trying to get up that hill.
I was coming from Brantford, and I was the only one on the highway for the most part. I think I passed a few vehicles, but on the 3-lane highway, just driving right in the middle. There were no tire tracks or anything. It was something else.
Yeah, it's interesting when the snowplows haven't gone by yet, and you're going, where the heck am I on the road here? At least, you know, when I come in, some of the roads I come in, there's a ditch here and there's a ditch here. So, you know, if you're in between the ditches, you're okay. But that's how heavy the snow has been, and it continues to come down. We're going to get on top of what we have had yesterday, last night. We're going to get another 2 to 4 centimeters. So we have winter storm warnings in effect right now, snowfall warnings in effect, not for Niagara. Niagara area has a freezing rain warning in effect right now. Not as much snow for there, a little bit, but freezing rain is possible there. And that's going to cause really slippery roads. I mean, we've got snow-covered roads right now. The snowplows are out. They've been doing their job all throughout the overnight hours, trying to keep up to this snow that continues to come down. And we've had a lot of snow. We've had anywhere from 20 centimeters of snow to 30 centimeters of snow, depending on where you are. And yes, it's still coming down and fairly heavily as well. And when you're scraping or brushing off the snow, all of a sudden you get down to freezing rain on your windows, which is what we had last night when the temperature was a little bit milder. So, it's treacherous today. We're going to sink. Our temperature's sinking today. Well, we're sitting at -5 right now, and that's pretty much where we're going to sit today, about -5. So we'll talk about the forecast in detail coming up. The roads this morning are horrendous. If you don't have to go in to wherever it is you normally go in, stay at home. If you can work from home today, excellent idea. If you don't have to drive, stay off the roads and let them get clean. As you can see here, this is the 403 and Waterdown Road. It is moving really slowly. There's not a lot of volume this morning, which is good, so that's slow. Here's what we have at the moment. There's a collision. This is Niagara-bound QEW. We're looking heading away from us. We have a collision. The camera's here at Burl Oak, so you can see a couple of vehicles in collision there, kind of off to the right. But look how, I mean, that's the QEW. Look how snow-covered it is. Even coming off the Skyway Bridge south of 2 is snow-covered. Not as bad here at Nikola Tesla Boulevard. And look at the rain, this freezing rain they're getting here. Not as much snow right now on the Garden City Skyway. So Oh yeah, take it really carefully if you're driving today. And speaking of driving, giving us details on what's happening if you are going to drive today and what the roads are like and how things are right now, here's Lamone Gavros.
Hi, Brian. Well, yes, as you were mentioning, the snow has just been falling for the last 15 hours or so, and the road conditions are pretty slippery, so it's going to make for a very tricky commute this morning, similar to what we saw yesterday as the snow was beginning to fall. Now, I know for myself, the roads this morning were just very tricky to navigate, and right now we're on Highway 6 headed towards the 403. I've already seen a number of cars as they were headed up the highway having to stop and put on their four-ways because of how treacherous the conditions are right now. So many OPP officers are asking people to stay home if they can. OPP Sergeant Carrie Schmidt says that if you do have to drive, be sure to take it very slow.
You need to adjust your driving, slow down to the conditions, whatever that looks like. And I know many people don't realize how slippery it is until they hit the brakes and realize they need to stop, and they can't. Watch those on-ramps and off-ramps. Make sure you're giving yourself lots of distance and time behind traffic in front of you, and be careful. Stay in control. Don't panic. No aggressive steering, no aggressive braking. Let's get through this storm together. If you're involved in a collision, stay in your vehicle. That's the safest place for you. If you're blocking a live lane, please call 911 immediately, and we'll get resources out there to help you.
Now here's a look at the Hamilton City snowplows that are already on the roads this morning. The city says that roads are plowed based on priority, starting with the main routes and then escarpment crossings, then the collector roads, and then finally neighborhood streets. Now the city declared a significant weather event yesterday afternoon because of the incoming heavy snowfall and freezing rain. Environment Canada says that we're going to see about 15 centimeters, but as Brian was mentioning, we saw anywhere up to 30 centimeters total of this snowfall. Now, for those who are relying on the GO train, there are going to be some changes that were mentioned earlier to the Lakeshore West Line Express trains. Now, so far today, Hamilton's early morning swim programs are canceled at 5 different pools, plus rec centers, senior centers, arenas, and golf facilities are going to be opening later at 9 a.m. Now, a reminder today, I was seeing some questions circulating on social media about garbage pickup. So garbage pickup is still happening today. So be sure to put out any of your garbage closer to your curb around 7 a.m. to make sure that those are picked up. But later this morning, we're going to be talking to Hamilton Police as well as the city for more about the snowfall cleanup. For now, something's back over to you, Emily.
Thank you very much, Simone. Be safe out there. Hamilton City Councilors debated the 2025 budget for the last time yesterday, suggesting a number of cost-cutting measures that were voted down.
It's about roads and transportation. It's about housing and housing services. Those are big things, and you can't address big things without some significant investment, particularly in a city like ours.
Hamilton homeowners can expect their taxes to go up by 5.6% this year, under the proposed $1.3 billion budget. Several cost-saving motions were proposed at yesterday's meeting, including cutting the police budget, removing bike lanes, and not allocating funds for the LRT project. All of them were voted down. Under the strong mayor powers granted by the province, Mayor Andrew Horvath now has 10 days to veto any decisions made at the meeting and has the authority to implement the budget.
2 people are in critical condition after they were pulled from a burning home in the city's East End yesterday morning. Crews responded to the fire on Huxley Avenue South around 2 a.m. and found the fire in the bedroom on the first floor. 2 people were found in the home and were taken to hospital in critical condition. Fire officials say the suspected cause of the fire is electrical in nature.
Ontario Provincial Police say they have arrested an impaired driver after she was caught driving in the wrong direction on the QEW for around 20 kilometers. Police say the Burlington and Niagara OPP detachments had multiple people call in to report the wrong-way driver, with police locating and stopping her near Casablanca Boulevard. A 54-year-old woman was arrested and charged with multiple offenses, including driving under the influence. Police say the driver made it from Hamilton to Grimsby before turning the right way around.
A second suspect has been arrested in connection with a robbery and shooting in Brantford last month. Police say it happened on January 22nd in the area of Colborne and Alfred Streets. 3 people were sent to hospital with serious injuries. 2 were shot and a third was assaulted. A 21-year-old man from Dundalk, Ontario, that's around 2 hours north of Hamilton, was arrested at the same day of the incident and faces a long list of charges, including 2 counts of attempted murder. An 18-year-old Mississauga man was arrested Monday and faces similar charges, including 2 counts of attempted murder, robbery with a firearm, assault with a weapon, and several more charges. Police say the investigation is ongoing.
And just like that, Canada up 1-0 early in the first. They're talking a little bit of hockey last night, the Four Nations Cup. Let's take a look.
Here's McDavid down to Crosby. They'll go back again. Crosby for the goal line across, and they score! McDavid to Crosby to McKinnon, and it's 1-0 Canada.
All right, 1-0 early in the first. Sidney Crosby with a sweet no-look feed to Nathan McKinnon, who buries it past Gustafsson on the power play. Canada was not done there with just under 7 minutes left in the first. Braden Point and Brad Marchand go in on a 2-on-1, and Point feeds a wide-open Marchand, who does not miss the wide-open net. 2-0 Canada. Jump to midway through the second. Sweden makes it interesting. Victor Hedman finds wild defenseman Jonas Brodin, and he fires a harmless-looking shot from past the face-off dot, but Jordan Binnington, he doesn't see it, and Sweden is on the board. With 2.5 left in the second, Captain Canada helps restore the 2-goal lead. Crosby streaks down the right side and finds Mark Stone in the slot. He buries one past the tender. Crosby with his second helper of the game so far. But Sweden makes it interesting again early in the third. Adrian Kempe in the slot, and this may be one that Billington wants back. Sweden completes the comeback. This is Mitch Marner winning it in overtime. A little Maple Leaf content. He gets the puck from Crosby and finishes the game off. He streaks into the slot, and usually he's a pass-first kind of guy, but not this time. He wins it for Canada, and they take the opener of the Four Nations face-off in a nail-biter 4-3. USA and Finland play tonight. Puck drop is at 8. All right, moving on. The Toronto Raptors were back in action again last night against the top team in the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Going into this one, the Cavs had 26 more wins on the season than the Raptors did. And I'm not a betting man, but my money would definitely have been on Cleveland. And I would have been right. Max Strus with his third triple of the game already. Cleveland outscored the Dinos 41-17 in the opening quarter. This was definitely a David versus Goliath matchup, and Goliath won. Cleveland winning for the 8th time in 9 games, 131-108. RJ Barrett led the way for Toronto with 28 points. Raptors have now dropped 5 of 6 and will be back on the court on Friday against Miami.
Murray's been shooting well in February. Launches, got it. Murray shooting 53% overall in February.
How about some more CanCon in the NBA? Kitchener's own Jamal Murray had himself a night, scoring a career-high 55 points, including 7 of 15 from deep, as the Nuggets beat the Trailblazers 132-121.
Okay, 13 minutes after 6 o'clock on the 13th morning of February, Thursday here, and we're going to start with traffic. And traffic is really going to be a nightmare here today. You can see it's really slow on the 403, which is the way you should be driving here this morning. Slowly goes it. So 403 Waterdown Road, that's our exclusive camera. No problems as far as collisions are concerned on the 403. It is just treacherous driving and really slow, and that's how you take it. Let's go to our MTO traffic cameras. Here's one collision that I can show you. This is the QEW at Burl Oak, and it's Niagara-bound lanes heading away from us. So a couple of vehicles in collision right there, as you can see. And look at the QEW. It is snow-covered. I mean, it's been plowed, yes, but the snow continues to come down. So we'll look into St. Catharines, because here there's a freezing rain warning. You'll notice not as much snow. So, yeah, it's pretty wet through there. We'll flip ahead to south of 2. There's that problem at Burl Oak, and looking ahead to Lorne Park. That's how it looks this morning. Snow-covered, slippery, and very slow, and that's how to take it. Let's check our temperature at the moment. Temperature right now is -5. Now, that's where the forecast for the day today says the temperature is going. We're already there. Now, we could climb a little bit. Wind chill right now is -9. Relative humidity right up there. We do have some light snow. Normally, I'd show you a school bus forecast, but Nope, not for today. We're getting a lot of cancellations for school. Just some tips on how to drive in the snow. And a lot of people forget it's winter and they just, whew, that's what happened this morning for me. I was following a snowplow, just letting it do its thing, and the vehicles are going by. Let the snowplows do what they do, please, and take it carefully. Let's look at the precipitation that we've had over the past 6 hours. The blue is the snow. The purple is the freezing rain, and we have had some. So that's kind of underneath the snow. That's what you've got to scrape off your windshield. So that low is going to go by, and the snow should pretty much come to an end by midday. But wait, tomorrow it's a ridge of high giving us some sun, but another snowstorm is approaching as we get into the weekend. So today's temperatures, -3, -4, -5. That's where we're going later on today. Another 2 to 4 centimeters today. Tonight, back down to, it's going to be cold tonight. -8 for Niagara, -11 for Hamilton with a wind chill of -20. So yeah, winter continues. And then tomorrow, we're looking at temperatures -5, -6, -4 for Burlington. But it's going to be a cold day tomorrow, but at least we'll get some sunshine back after all this snow. So out the door on the 13th morning of February, it's -5. The snow continues to come down. It is cloudy, and the winds aren't quite as strong as they were earlier. We'll look at the long-range forecast coming up. Emily, Adam.
Thank you very much. Coming up after the break, the latest U.S. inflation readings are out, and the Bank of Canada is deciding whether to cut interest rates.
For 70 years, CHCH has covered the biggest news stories in the region. Join us on February 16th for a look back through the decades, featuring some familiar faces.
The video cameras went from that big to this big to this big.
Hear untold stories from behind the
The old
scenes.
house even.
Oh, nicotine-stained prison.
Oh, well, and it was Hagersville tire fight. It was huge.
Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Watch part 1 February 16th at 7 p.m.
Taking a look at market numbers now, our dollar is up 5 basis points, edging closer to the 70-cent U.S. mark. Gold gained $12.80 an ounce, and crude is down 70 cents to $70.67 a barrel. In midway European trading, markets are down in London but up in Frankfurt and Paris.
And over in Asia, markets were up in Tokyo, but down slightly in Hong Kong and Shanghai. And in North American markets, it was a rough day for the energy sector, which led Bay Street to a lower close. The TSX slipped 68 points. The Dow fell even further, down 225. The Nasdaq gained only 6 points. U.S. stock markets are trading lower this morning, influenced by higher than expected inflation data and mixed corporate earnings.
U.S. President Donald Trump promised as candidate that he could easily conquer inflation, but the reality is proving tougher than he expected. The annual U.S. inflation rate has risen over the 3 months since the November election to 3%. Gasoline prices in particular have climbed despite Trump's claims that his return to the presidency would signal increased oil production that would lower energy costs.
We're close but not there on inflation. And you did see today's inflation print, which says the same thing. I mean, we've made great progress toward 2%. Last year, inflation was 2.6%. So great progress, but we're not quite there yet.
The data reinforced expectations the Federal Reserve will be in no rush to resume cutting interest rates, particularly as economic uncertainty is exacerbated by the expected inflationary impact of U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs on key U.S. trade partners.
The potential for a lengthy trade war with the U.S. and the uncertainty it brings is weighing heavily on the Bank of Canada's Governing Council, especially as it decides whether to cut interest rates. The central bank has released a summary of its deliberations, showing the discussions that were had ahead of the January 29th rate cut. The summary shows the Governing Council talked about what a prolonged trade war and its uncertainty could do to Canada. They considered survey data released last month that shows some businesses were already considering shifting investments to the U.S.
And taking a break right now, but Brian will be back with traffic and some weather and more snow in the 7-day forecast. Can you believe that?
More snow.
More snow.
Good morning at 6:24. It's Thursday morning, the 13th of February. Here's one collision that we have on the QEW at Burl Oak, and it is Niagara-bound traffic heading away from us. As you can see, a couple of vehicles in collision. We do have emergency crews there on the scene, but you'll notice that the QEW, even going through Burlington and Oakville, is snow-covered. I mean, they've been working on the roads. It's not snow-covered here in Niagara. This is the Garden City West camera, Garden City Skyway. You can see it's more wet, and there's a freezing rain warning here because it's milder, and they're going to get that freezing rain for the day today. Nikola Tesla Boulevard, nothing to see. Here's east of Brant Street. Traffic is moving very slowly. Ford plant, slow as well, snow covered all the way through Etobicoke Creek. Once again, if you don't have to drive today, don't. Stay home. Let them clean the roads. If you can work from home today, even better, so stay home. Temperatures at the moment. What a range here. It depends on where you are, whether it's mild or cold. +1 for Grimsby, 0 for Toronto. Then -5 for Hamilton, -8 for Mississauga. Wind chills around -9 at the moment. So seasonal temperatures for this time of year, -1 for the daytime high, -9 for the overnight low. Those are our sun times. Yes, we do gain another couple of minutes of daylight for the day today. For school today, you know, I built this board a little earlier, and I thought, should I build it? Well, then the indications are that there's really no reason to build it because most schools are closed for the day today. So let's get right to our long-range forecast. -5 today. That's where we're going to sit. We'll get another 2 to 4 centimeters on top of what we've already got at the moment. Temperature falling to -11 tonight with a wind chill of -20. It's going to be cold. Tomorrow, -6. We'll get some sunshine, but a wind chill of -12 for Valentine's Day. It's Flag Day on Saturday. We're going to get more snow. Another system, we could get 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. More snow again on Sunday and -2. Family Day Monday, it gets colder, -7 for Monday and Tuesday. That's your forecast. Emily, Adam.
Thank you very much, Brian. A Burlington man is on a mission to push the limits of his terminal cancer diagnosis and inspire others in the process. 43-year-old Daniel Height was working from home in December of 2020 when suddenly he had a seizure. The cancer is incurable but treatable. Height was given 5 to 7 years to live. He underwent brain surgery in early 2021 while awake and started the long road to recovery. Now, in the midst of his grueling recovery, Height signed up for a long-distance triathlon, a half Ironman competition. That's a 1.9-kilometer swim, 90-kilometer bike ride, and 21-kilometer run.
I signed up before I could even walk to the end of the street. Create a sense of community, and in doing so, help people realize they're not alone in their own struggles.
That's just incredible. Height's wife, Denise, now competes with her husband, too, accompanying him on his journey to work towards a goal, live a healthy lifestyle, and inspire others to push their boundaries. He is currently training for an Ironman competition this summer. Height is proof that with the right mindset, a diagnosis can be the catalyst for great change.
Yeah, such a powerful story.
Yeah, just incredible.
Yeah. All right, stay with us. More news coming up your way after the break.